You know why the black families are like that, right? I'm not going to put everybody in the same boat.
Why you think it is?
But I think 80%. I think 80% of it is, so a lot of them have kids when they're younger. Teenage years, like whatever, it's from 16 to say 20, right? They start having the kids, so they weren't really able to fully have their party stage or enjoy their life, and this is in their mindset. And so by the time their kids do become adults, they're still young enough to go and still have their. So as soon as they turn 18, what that means, the parents are early 40s, still able to move.
Could still be in the upper 30s.
It still could be in the upper 30s, and they're ready to go and just hang out and get loose. You sent me this, I think, on Instagram or something, or we saw this something, and it was what is the ideal age to move out of your parents' house? You got any idea on this, Black? What's the ideal age to move out of your parents' house?
Man, to me, I feel like the black community got a fucked up idea of what it means for your child to be able to lunch. So we kick him out at 18 or have him paying bills.
I was gonna say 17.9.
Yeah, like stupid shit like that. But I had a friend. I used to work with this kid. He was Jewish, and he didn't move out. He didn't move out of his parents. So he was going to school to be a teacher. So he was working at the same place. He worked there for like 10 years. So he had a 401k. He had a nice little 401k, and he was like fully vested in the company. And so when he got it, when he finally graduated college and went into his career, he took that money and he put it on a down payment on a house. This is back when houses were a lot cheaper than they are now. And so basically, long story short, he didn't move out to his parents' house until he was able to buy a house. And he was set in his career, and he had money, and I think the best time for your kids to launch is when they're ready to launch. And so that could be 21, it could be 24, it could be 25, 27. As long as they are in the pursuit of launching, even if it's like just figuring out what they want to do. So I think it's no real age, but it's more like when your kid's ready. As long as the plan is for them to eventually be ready.
I tend to agree. I don't think it's an issue where you have a specific age and I'm not big on kicking kids out when they're 18 and whatever. I just don't think that you're giving them a great chance for success. But it's more of like a situation in life when I think you have some sort of path that you're on that you're going to be committed to, and you feel like you need to do that. You'd hope that there's a little bit of patience for so you go out with some resources, because the thing I don't want is they go out with no damn resources and I keep being a resource.
Right, you got to keep hitting.
You keep being the resource.
It's cheaper for me to stay at the damn house than it is for me to stay at the house and pay for your house over there or your apartment. Like that doesn't work. That's not good. So yeah, when you've got that thing. Now I will say this: my kids are older. Some are at the house, some aren't at the house. As far as the one that's not at the house, like he wanted that freedom.
Right.
It wasn't like he had any rules at the house or anything, but he wanted that for himself, and he's really kind of been like fiercely financially independent since. And it's again, he hasn't he's frugal. He's learned a lot because he's put himself in that position. And I wasn't happy when he went because I felt he was kind of doing it for the wrong reasons. Because I was like, bro, you don't have any rules here. Like, what are you worried about? But he felt like he needed to do it, and it was the right thing for him. So for him, it was right. Some of the other ones, they ain't there yet.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna ever push him out the door. To hey, you got to go do this. Because if you're not ready, I don't want it to be a disaster.
You know what? You know why the black families are like that, right? I'm not going to put everybody in the same boat.
Why you think it is?
But I think 80%. I think 80% of it is when you have. So a lot of them have kids when they're younger. Teenage years, like whatever, it's from 16 to say 20. Right, they start having the kids, so they weren't really able to fully have their party stage or enjoy their life, and this is in their mindset. And so by the time their kids do become adults, they're still young enough to go and still have their. So as soon as they turn 18, what that means, the parents are early 40s, still able to move.
Could still be in the upper 30s.
It still could be in the upper 30s, and they're ready to go and just hang out and get loose. And they don't understand that your child's fully independent, even though they stay at the house. You can still sort of do that if you wanted to, but they want to just go all out and do it.
That's what I'm saying. Because the only reason I don't think that's it. Because
but you do encounter some of that. You've seen some of that.
Yeah, I won't say that that's not it, because it's all just conversation.
Yeah.
But I think that, especially like in our society, in our community, parents have this like possessive thing about them where they want to control that child's life even when they entered into adulthood. They want to control their decisions. They want to control their religious beliefs. They want to control when you come home, so they want you to pay half the mortgage or half the rent or half the bills when you turn 18. Like, just unrealistic and like debilitating things that they think is a part of being an adult, when really it's just kind of like, it's really debilitating, really. And so like you better don't come to my house after 12, but I'm an adult.
But couldn't you control more if they stayed in the house?
No.
You don't think so?
Yeah, but
No, I was going to ask you though, that control that you're talking about, do you think that pushes the young people
of course.
to leave because they just want to get away from
that's
that
it,
level
that's
of
exactly
control?
what it does. That's exactly what it does. It basically, you make them uncomfortable so they leave. Because and you would think that because it is a control thing, they feel like that leverage they have is that you have somewhere to live, so then they can control you. I seen like this thing on social media, on Facebook, about this lady who kicked her son out because he I guess he fell on hard times and he moved back in with her and her husband, his dad and his mom. And she said, okay, to live with me, you have to go to church every Sunday.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then people were like, yeah, that makes sense. Well, really it doesn't. Why do I have to go to church with you? And you say, well, the Lord, because obviously you can't handle your money or pay bills. You're not responsible. You need to be in church. What does church have to do with any of that?
I understand, but I do agree with them.
You agree with them?
Yeah, I do.
You agree with who?
I agree with the parents.
You got to go to church.
Whatever it is, whatever it is. If it's a reasonable request and if it's a reasonable house rule, I agree with it. Like, you're coming back to live in the house, and these are the rules of the house.
That's a part of the problem, though. Because
why is it a problem?
Because I'm an adult. Now, in that case, he wasn't working, so the argument could be that you ain't paying for nothing. Which is the reason why that's not reasonable is because you're forcing somebody to do something because you have the leverage or the power.
So I feel, I understand if you have rules of the house, like if you're gonna live here, whatever, take out the trash, wash your, like things that like literally make the house operate okay.
Right.
But the church thing is outside of that for me.
It's crazy.
And it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, I got to an age, when I was young, I had to go to church with my mom. And then I reached the age where it's like, I ain't going anymore. And in fact, I don't believe in any of this shit.
Right.
And so,
in fact,
yeah,
right.
And that's what I got. Now, once
that
cat is out of the bag, it doesn't go back in. Like, I can't be like, oh yeah, this is interesting. You have to. It's just not like forcing somebody to do something that like impacts them intellectually or maybe stifles them intellectually is wrong.
Right.
Like, basic responsibilities
based on what you believe too, like it's because it's your belief.
Yeah.
If you say I got to make sure that the trash can is out on Wednesday before the dump truck comes on Thursday morning, that's understandable. If you say
no, my fault. Go ahead, continue.
But if it's something that's related to your belief system, and you're saying that I have to engage in that in any way, that's kind of like a slap in the face, especially if you're somebody who love me and care about me, and you saying I gotta go to church or I can't live here. So in order to not be homeless, I have to engage in your belief system.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy.
I might as well go meet somebody believing Diddy's beliefs.
Right. Cause
What's stopping you? I mean,
Yeah.
you're homeless. You're an adult and you're homeless. And these are my house rules. And because this is the thing. Religion, if you're a part of religion, you understand that it's more than a belief to them. This is concrete.
yeah,
Like
but,
this is
that's why we have a lot of strain. That's why we
it's not my belief
But
or
you
anything.
got- I mean, like-
but
like-
it is what it is.
But for a belief, like if you actually care about the other person,
Right.
and they have to arrive at that belief on their own, or it's not going to matter.
in their minds, they care so much for this person, they want to save this person eternal life.
And that's
So
the problem with all of the Christian crusades and all
Right.
the other bullshit.
I-
This notion of saving, it is a cancer.
right.
It is a cancer on the face of humanity.
Believe me, man.
But
But
I mean,
we can't
believe
applaud that.
me.
or
I'm
we
not
can't-
applauding it.
But you're
I am
kind of favoring.
I am.
And I'm saying
only
that's
because
wrong.
of the house rules.
yeah, but that's
Yeah, that ain't house.
it could be
rule, man.
whatever.
Is
It-
the church in the house?
yeah, but because that's a part of it
It's an
is
argument that it should be. It can be.
a part of it is
If it is,
when these are my rules in my house is a fucked up thing to do to somebody who you care about who needs somewhere to live. As long as they not destroying your house.
Yeah.
But if it's like you have on Sundays we pray. No, I don't.
Yeah.
And I need somewhere to live. And so if you decide that I can't live here because I'm not going to live how you want me to live, then I probably will never see you again.
and that's the thing. I think when you impose stuff on people, you force harder lines and harder reactions, and you could really lose some relationships over stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. No, you really can. You really can. Religion is just one of those. It's one of those topics, man. But one thing I've learned,
It's a cancer.
I became, the older I get, the more I understand. Like, these people really they immerse themselves into it, so they don't have the ability to discern what we're conversing about. They don't have that because in their mind this is concrete. This is what it is, and if you're not a part of this belief system, you're going to hell. And I love you so much, I don't want you to go to hell. So this is my house. This is our house rules, and as long as I have you in this house and I want you in this house, then I know that we're all safe from the devil.
But
You know what I mean?
see,
Like I understand. I know that's how.
I know.
they-
The great thing about us now is we can look at that objectively and say that's stupid.
Yeah, it is.
And we don't have to rationalize. We're not like, well, that's what they believe. I can say that's stupid, and I unsubscribe to that. I
think, I mean, I'm really big on calling stuff stupid that it deserves to be called stupid. Yeah. If we don't challenge these things or look at other perspectives and you just blindly believe, I mean, that's Nazism, that's fascism, that's so many negative things that have happened, in humanity, in the history of the world. And you have to look at these things and say, hey, why the hell are we going to church? What are we getting out of it? And there are people that have a nice balance in their life. That ain't me. But, church has a place. It gives them something that allows them to function more productively in the other aspects of their life. But you can't force or impose that on a person without there being a real cost.
Right. Because at some point, you have to, I have to look at you. I have to look at your parents. I have to look at your parents. Don't nobody own nothing. Why? Because they made you leave at 18. So you weren't ready to have roots.
Yeah.
You wasn't ready to lay down roots. You weren't ready to fly. So you had to figure it out. So you spent 11 of those years after 18 trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's because you have some kind of bullshit belief, and respectfully anybody's beliefs, but you have these beliefs that are not even rooted in anything. It's rooted in just passed down indoctrination. This stuff not even in the Bible. You talking about? Jesus wasn't kicked out when he was 18. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like this is stuff that somebody made up, and then you carried it on. I've never read a text where they say Jesus, if the street lights come on, he wasn't in the house, don't come home. Mary never said that in no books. But we hold on to these things.
The face of Jesus never shone under a streetlight.
Nah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
But I think you
that
mentioned
was
something
good.
though.
That's a good
I
conversation.
mean, as far as like wealth and amassing assets and finances, like to me, it's got to flow forward.
Right.
And too many times, and I'm not black, but I say this, and too many times from my experience and knowing people, it's flowing backward.
Right.
There's this thing where it's like, oh, I gotta help this out, I gotta help this other person, I gotta help whatever, and it's like sometimes you're literally throwing good money after bad, and
Right.
it does not allow things to move forward and pass things forward to people, and it's really, really unfortunate. And I know that there's a lot of like bullshit reasons that black people are in financial situations that they're in that doesn't have things to do with them, that has to do with institutional racism, and I'm not excusing that or pretending it's not there, but there is this part of this where things are flowing
Yeah,
backwards
there are other
instead of
factors.
forward.
Right.
Well, yeah.
So because there's absolutely, that's the thing, there's absolutely history that has made us so systemic in this way as far as how we look at finance, how we look at family. Yes, but now we know better. Now we can look at our mom and say, that's stupid what you're doing, and that's counterproductive to what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So if we're not going to have those conversations, then we can't keep saying systemic racism. Because yes, that happened, and that did affect us, and it's still affecting us. But also, kicking your kid out at 18 is affecting generational wealth. Him making them go to church when they ventured out and had different understandings about religion and life, and you not embracing that, and so they're stuck in the same box you're in. That affects progress.